All right, I think we'll get going now. Again, thanks to all of you for joining this morning. Appreciate it. We do this every month and want to make sure that we keep on top of things as they change and keep moving. And um, that is one thing we know for sure is that change is of the essence. The good news is there's not a lot of it this month to talk about, but we do have some updates. So I want to walk through those. Should be relatively quick this morning. I would encourage you to feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question if you like, or if you're more comfortable, feel free to put something in the chat. Noah and Isabella uh, are on the call. They'll be monitoring that for me. And absolutely thanks to Noah and Isabella for helping us put all this together as well. So that being said, let's dive in. Agenda for today. Tariffs continue to be a hot topic, and we will walk through what we know and what we don't know. Incentives are changing, and want to make sure we're keeping on top of that and keeping that information out there. Refrigerant updates, not a ton to talk about, but again, probably something just to keep our thumb on. And finally, the CVP policy has been updated, and we have a little bit to chat about there. So, plenty of things to work through, and including the how the big beautiful bill is going to be affecting us in the HVAC business. So, several things to cover. Tariffs, the Chinese tariffs are probably the most important to our industry and what we're watching most closely. And they're to take effect 8/1 of 25. So we're only a couple weeks away, and that's going to be anywhere from 25 to 40%. China has put their tariffs on hold, which doesn't affect the contracting and distribution world in our space a whole lot, but that certainly causes retaliation tariffs coming back from us if the 55% tariffs come into play. But China is out publicly saying that our tariffs are economic bullying and they reserve the right to retaliate. And that's where this gets a little scary. If we can't work things out, that the back and forth puts us in a really tough spot in terms of our raw materials and many of the parts and pieces we buy from China that we just don't have the capacity to start building in the US today or in Mexico or other friendly countries. So a little bit tense and a little bit concerning, but as of right now, the talks are still happening, and there's a good chance they'll work things out. But the other thing that's important to watch is that Congress is pushing for more oversight into future tariffs. I don't know that that's going to happen anytime soon, but we'll keep watching that as well. So for right now, we're going to keep watching that 8/1 date. And even if that does go into effect, it probably won't have any effect on our pricing until the September timeframe. So stay tuned for the August version of this meeting, and we'll be watching that very carefully to see what really happens and what goes into play. Right now, still the universal 10% tariff. There are country-specific tariffs, but most of those are still being discussed and debated. So, although there are some, the big 50% type things are still being discussed and negotiated. Steel and aluminum is a real factor, and we've already seen some of the price increases due to that. Continue to see some trickle through here and there. And then again, that de minimis exemption where even small parts and pieces are being affected coming out of China, where that was not the case before. Found an interesting study from Yale. Their budget lab did a study and found out that the overall average tariff on the U.S. consumer is about 17.6%. So, and they're saying that's the highest that's been since 1934. So, an average household in this country now is losing about $2,300 due to tariffs. And there's a couple ways to look at that. That certainly is the what it's costing the average household, but that's going back into different things, either paying for those foreign goods or paying extra for U.S. goods. So there's some U.S. Folks making more money or better labor rates or the different things that happen. So it's such a complex issue and it affects so many different things that anyone who thinks they understand it all and know all the answers is probably kidding themselves. So it's one we watch, one we adjust and try to make the best of and figure out where we go from here. So That's all I have on tariffs for now. So if you have any questions, let me know. And again, after this call, feel free to reach out to me on email or give me a call. I'm happy to talk through things and go into more detail. But for right now, I think we're seeing some price increasing. As contractors, homeowners have sticker shock when they are seeing the price of a new system. That's not going to change. That is for sure, but there is a chance it will go higher if the tariffs get out of control here. So we will keep on top of it and keep letting you know what we know. Okay, the incentives updates with the big beautiful bill. Probably the biggest thing for our industry on the big beautiful bill is that tax credits, the 25C and 25D, will go away. So all the residential pieces are going away, and that will happen on 1/1 of 26. So we've got 6 months now to keep taking advantage of it. So if you're using that with your customers, continue to do so and offer that as maybe a push to get people to make the move now rather than later. Uh, and that's still up to $2,000 on a heat pump, 600 on a furnace, and 600 on an AC unit that meet the CEE efficiency standards that we've posted before. So now's the time to take advantage of that. Um, we also want to point out that Energy Star was defunded in the big beautiful bill. Um, Energy Star is looking at privatization, which is certainly probably likely the way it will go, but that causes some challenges to the veracity of their policies. Because if the people who make the are funding the program that measures them, then it gets to be a little bit clouded on motivations and who's doing what. So Congress is looking at it. There could be some legal action. So we'll keep tabs on it and figure out what happens. But it could change how Energy Star plays in our space. CEE is also losing favor with the manufacturers and is at risk of being removed from the um, Inflation Reduction Act. But I'm not sure what they'd replace it with at this stage since Energy Star has taken a step backwards. So for right now, on hold, but keep tabs and we'll keep watching it. I did want to update you on the Inflation Reduction Act here rebate. That is the appliance rebate. And that's the up to $8,000 per system. Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, and Wisconsin are all moving forward, but it's slow. There hasn't been any clawback of the funds, but for whatever reason, the administration to put those programs in place in the states we work is taking quite a while. And I don't know if there's just caution in that or it's just the administrative tools because it is a fairly complicated program. So we'll keep watching it. I'm looking at those websites every month and seeing how they change. And as of right now, I'm not seeing any major changes on that side of it. There is the whole home energy reduction rebate as well, which is the audited process more complex tool. And Wisconsin's doing something with that now and is actually offering rebates, but it's a pretty complex program and very few contractors are taking advantage of that, to my knowledge. So, but happy to chat with anybody if you have questions or concerns on that one. We'll be happy to dive into it. Um, I've talked about this in the past, but the 454B rollback, there's still conversation about this. The EPA and the Food Marketplace Inc. Lawsuit is more in the commercial refrigeration space, but it could, due to precedent, affect us as well and could create the opportunity for rollback into 410A. Every manufacturer is but as I've said before, if there's a opportunity that one manufacturer can see an advantage and they can start making 410A faster than the rest of the market and take some share away, it's hard to stop. So the oral arguments are to start in September. So I'm going to keep watching it. I think it's a pretty slim chance that we'll roll back to 410A in the residential space, especially, but there's just too much risk to not watch it and keep our eyes on it. So we'll keep looking at that to see what happens. With that, I want to talk about the 454B shortage. The industry had said in the spring that it was only going to last until early summer. They missed that by a little bit. Right now, they're saying that it's probably going to be August, September when we'll start to see some real relief in that. I can tell you that we at Republic and TF Earhart still have a little bit left and can help you, but we're not swimming in it by any stretch. So it's still tough to get, and I expect that to be the case for the next month or so, maybe two. And here's the if you want to look at the trade publications and what's being said about it, these links are in here, and you can dive deeper and take a look. But late second quarter, early third is when they're still saying it's probably going to be um, a little bit more available. I want to remind you to take advantage of the refrigerant detection system calculator for a couple of reasons. One, to give yourself a benefit over other contractors who aren't doing that. The report it spits out is very professional and shows that you're taking the time to evaluate it properly. The other reason is in smaller systems, there's a lot of cases where you don't need a refrigerant detection system. And if you can save the time and effort of putting that in place, we certainly recommend that. So it's a good tool to take advantage of. You can download it for Apple and Android with this link, and this will be in the pages we send out as well. So if you don't get your phone out right now, you can certainly pull this app up. And there's a lot of other things the app does. It's not just this tool. It can help you with warranty, with parts, with information about units. It's a very useful tool, so strongly recommend you take advantage of looking at that. Just as a reminder, I've gone through this so many times, but a lot of things is if you've not done any A2Ls yet, make sure that you're doing the training. A couple of options for that. Make sure your tools are updated, training on whatever you're installing. And I know most of you install multiple brands, so make sure you understand the differences because all RDSs are not the same. Incorporate some checklists, some testing, and ventilation is one that's a little fuzzy with the way people interpret the rules. I think a good look at ASHRAE 15.2 is probably wise on the residential side. It's a complicated piece of engineering data, but it's good to understand what's going on in there. And that's what most of the rules are based on. So spending a little time and reading the few pages that it is worthwhile, even though it's a little complicated. And then I recommend using the DS Solutions app to give yourself some more credibility at the kitchen table when you're talking to homeowners. And then finally, make sure you're talking to your local authority with jurisdiction, and that's the inspector or whoever has the ability to say that this installation is effective or not effective, or can tell you that it needs to be changed, because the way they interpret these rules essentially are going to rule the day for you. And to go back and find out you have not met with their expectation is the bigger risk. All right. Wanted to walk through economic indicators for the U.S. because there's certainly some risk of the economy affecting what happens to us over the next 6 to 12 to 18 months. And so I'm watching these fairly closely. Quarter one ended up being some slight contraction. We were down about a half a point in our economy in the U.S. Looking forward, we're expecting it to grow just a little bit, and that's called stagflation. And reasons for that is the job gains are slow. Unemployment's actually growing a little bit right now. Inflation is low, but it's expecting to go up with some of the effects of the tariffs. And then interest rates are still a little restrictive. It doesn't really push growth when our interest rates are as high as they are right now. And the Fed's looking at only lowering that maybe a half a percentage point by the end of this year. So not a lot of good signs that the economy is going to go crazy, but it's also not appearing that it's going to turn down worse. So I think a little balanced, slow growth is healthy and isn't going to create a bad cycle for us. So overall, not great news, but also not bad news. Last thing I wanted to cover today is the controls verification procedure. And again, this is the government saying that we're cheating as an industry and not truly measuring inverters right. So, given the rules, all manufacturers test inverter systems at the most optimum testing procedure, meaning that the way we test them isn't the way they're used. We put them in the best condition for testing, but we would never use them in the home that way because homeowners would not be comfortable, either cycling of temperature or not enough dehumidification the way we're testing them. So the new parameters would hold them to the way we actually use them in the home. The problem with that is all our efficiency standards, all our rebates, all our programs are based around the current way of measuring. And if we change to the new measure, all the efficiencies will decrease and therefore make the rebates and all the incentives inappropriate and not at the right levels. And changing all those are very difficult. So the industry asked for a 1 year extension, and the ruling on that was July 7th. And good news, there's not going to be a change till at least 7/7 of next year. So finally, I get to bring you some good news that the government decided not to rock our world yet again. So no changes on the CVP. And I'm sure some of you are saying, well, I didn't even know before this morning what the CVP was. But the good news is it's not changing, and we've got some time to think about it and decide what's best for the industry. So I will keep watching it and see what they do and keep you apprised of that. So good news on that front. As always, want to share additional resources. This presentation, we'll put it into a PDF and send it out to you so you can dig deeper in some of these links if you choose to. Always some additional tools to share with homeowners as well. Some videos out there that might make it easier for you to tell the story to homeowners. Happy for you to use those. Those links are there as well. We are shooting for August 13th for our next meeting. And I will keep track of all the things that we're watching. And if you have others that you'd like me to track or speak on, let me know. I would be happy to hear from you. We're not going to stop doing this because we don't see the world of HVAC contracting settling down anytime soon. There's going to continue to be changes and challenges, and we want to watch them and keep you aware. So with that, I will pause just for a minute to see if there's any questions. I don't see any in the chat. And again, I thank you all very much for joining and taking some time with us. We'll continue to do what we can, and we'll share the link to this video as well as the PDF, and continue to do the research and find out what we can to help. So thank you all for joining. Take care and have a great Wednesday. Talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.